Okay, so in this tutorial I'm going to go through really quickly how to export items from Blender and into Unity, and then how to set them up so that you can share them amongst friends and whoever you want to give it to. So let's say you modeled something here, right? So let's just do some things to this cube. Let's not deform it too much. We'll just do a little basic cube so we can see which direction things are in. And let's say you scale this thing out a little bit, done some things to it. There we go. So let's say you've done a couple of things to this cube, right? So after this, usually what will happen is that the normals for the cube will have changed, depending on how you've scaled the cube. So for example, let's say I scale it on the Z here, you'll notice that the normals here change for it. Or if I move it, they will also change. So before you export things, you always want to make sure that you reset all your transforms, because otherwise, when you export this thing, for example, let's say you've done this, then this is going to come out as a 0.5 or 100, or the normal is going to be completely different from what you expect it to be inside of Unity. So let's control set that, set it back here. And also one thing that can happen is, let's say you're in edit mode and you move it on the x-axis, you'll notice that the center point of the object is still left there. So when you rotate it, it's going to rotate on this, which can be really frustrating when you're working with the project and you're trying to move things around, because this is going to be the center point. So you want to make sure, let's say we move this here, you want to make sure that you set the origin to geometry. That way it will always be in the middle and it will be easy to move around with. So let's control set all of that a little bit. But yeah, so let's say this is our game object now, and this is what we want to import. So we're gonna make sure that all these are reset. So you're going to press Control A and press all transforms. Nice, great, amazing. So the best way to get this over into Unity is to use an FBX file. So the way we do this is you go to File, you go to Export, and you choose FBX. Here it's easy if you have set up so that you can import it right away to Unity. Now I haven't set that up, so I'm just going to put this in a file where I want it, and then I'm going to move it into Unity. But before that, there's some settings we want to fix here. So first of all, we want to make sure that we tick experimental apply transform. This is going to make sure that the transform that we have reset is going to be correct and set up properly. And then there's a bunch of different things you can do for armature and stuff like that, or what you want to have. So now I had deleted the sun, the light, and the camera from this. So these won't actually come up, but otherwise we can just select these to go away. I'm just going to select all of these just to make it a bit easier for right now. We're going to name this to something. It's always a good practice to name it the version of the model it is, or another way, follow the naming scheme that you want to use. So let's say for this, let's say this is a rock. It looks like a rock. So let's do rock underscore model. This way we'll know that this is the model that we're importing. So we're going to choose documents, because that's an easy way to find it, and we're going to press export FBX. Now if we minimize Blender, you're going to have Unity ready here already. We're going to go to all folders, and then we're going to go to documents, and we find our rock model here. So there are a couple of different ways to get it into Unity. You can either open the Unity folder, or the easiest way is just to take the model, pull it right in. There we go. You can also just choose Show in Explorer, and you can pull the rock model in here. Usually you want to make sure that you have set up a little folder called Models to make this a bit easier for the next couple of steps. So there are a couple of different things that we need to do for the model before it's ready to be used. So we're just going to put that into Models so we know where we have it. So now we're going to take this model and we're going to pull it into the scene. And you're going to find that it's in the middle. Nice and easy to find. But you're going to notice that we can't change any of the materials. The materials is stuck where it is. So to fix that, we're going to select the model, and we're going to go to materials. Usually it'll start up here, but we're going to go to materials, and we're going to choose extract materials. Then we're just going to choose a folder where we want this to happen. We're just going to do it in the models folders for now, but I generally like to have a folder in here called materials, where I just put all of the materials in. There we go. So now we have the material folder. Now to fix up this last thing, so in this folder is where you would put in all of the material, like fix up the material that you're going to use. So we're going to use some quick materials that we have here just to get you an idea of how it works. So if we go to desktop, see what we have. Use this copper texture, it's going to look good. Take that, pull that in like we did with the model. And usually you want to put all these in like a nice structured system so that you know where you have everything. So I'm going to select our model here, and since this is a albedo, we're just going to put that into base, and boom, now you have this ugly material, but it's probably going to look a lot better on your models because you will have textured everything properly. And then if you have metallic maps, you put them in here, normal maps, occlusion maps, all that yada yada. From here you'll be able to do a couple of like changes and stuff to it, but generally you don't need to do this unless you've been asked to fix this. Sweet. So before this is ready to be exported and sent to whoever is going to use it, you're going to take this game object here, and we're going to just go to assets, and you're going to take the one that's in here in the hierarchy, pull it in here, and it's going to ask you if you want to create an original prefab or a variant of this prefab, and you want to create original, and you want to rename this to either rock underscore prefab, or you just do rock. I prefer to do rock underscore prefab, that way when we're searching for it, it's going to be nice and easy to find. Preferably you want to put this in its own folder as well. Let's call this prefabs. Now we notice we already had one, so we're just going to delete the new one. There we are. So here we have prefabs folder, pull that into there. Sweet. So now we have our rock prefab. Now we're ready to do the last step. So either you can select all of these things, put them onto a Google Drive and just send them out as they are, or you can do this. So what you do is you go to assets, export package. It's going to load real quick, and we're just for now going to deselect everything. In your Unity scene, hopefully you would have had all this cleaned up a lot nicer and better, so you don't need to get all these extra stuff. But for now I'm just going to deselect all these. So now I want to select all of the assets that are vital for anyone else using this asset. So obviously we want the rock prefab, so we're going to select the prefabs folder. You can also just select the individual. If there's more in here, you will just be able to select the individual ones. But for now, prefabs, and we're going to select models. This way we're going to get the material, the rock model, and the texture all with it. And then we can press export, and let's call this rock underscore asset. Sweet. And now you'll be able to see here in models we now have a rock asset. I'm going to put that in documents, so we have taken that out. So let's say now I have been working with somebody. I'm going to delete this. We're going to delete the model and all this stuff. No, we don't have that. Thing goes away. Bam. So let's say now then I'm the game developer here and I'm looking to import some asset that I've received from somebody. I'm going to be pressing assets, import package, custom package. We'll go to documents, and here we'll see, oh, rock asset. Nice. I will open that up, find a bunch of things here. I can deselect and select any of them if, let's say, I already had a bunch of these. Import that, and now you see I'll receive the folder, and I have received the rock. And that's beautiful. So one way to make this a bit easier for other people would be to, for example, instead of using a prefab folder, putting everything in like rock assets or assets, you know, like put everything into one folder and you can just import things really quick and easy. But by doing this, you don't need to, the developer won't need to go in and look at your individual model or anything like that. Like you will have fixed all of that already, and they're able to just go into prefabs, take the rock and start building things with it. Thank you much for listening, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Discord.